Good morning and happy solstice. We are gathered here in just a few seconds at the exact moment of the winter solstice. It is occurring at 9:03. Thanks for letting us know that. So welcome. We are so happy that you have chosen to be here at First Unitarian Society this morning to celebrate the turning of the year and the celebration of the winter solstice. My name is Kelly Crocker, and I'm one of the ministers here. Today I'm joined by my colleague, the Reverend Kelly Asbruth Jackson, and by the worship team of Drew Collins, Linda Warren, Stephen Gregorius, and Daniel Carnes. At First Unitarian Society, we question boldly, listen humbly, grow spiritually, act courageously, and love unapologetically. If you're visiting us today, welcome. We're so very glad that you are with us. If you would like more information about the congregation after service, please stop by the welcome table, which is through those doors to your right. It's next to the elevator. We also hope that you'll be able to stay and join us for coffee hour after service, which is also right out in the Commons. And for those of you connecting with us virtually today, welcome to you as well. We're so very glad that you're with us. We hope you'll be able to take a moment to watch the announcement slides shown immediately after today's service to find out more about what's happening here at First Unitarian. A huge thank you to all those who are assisting with today's service. Our greeter upstairs is Alice Delaquest. Ushering is Alyssa Ryan-Joy, Liza Monroe, and Dick Goldberg. And in the kitchen, making that all-important hospitality, is Jen Gaber, Jim, and Sue Wilson. Thank you all. And now, I invite you to join in a moment of silence as we center ourselves and bring ourselves fully into this time, joining together once again in community.
In this season of long nights and afternoon twilight, we look for peacefulness in the familiar rhythms of earth and air, the turning that is the solstice, the gentleness of the winter's dark.
In this season of rest, we remember the seeds that depend on the darkness of earth, the trees dormant and animals hibernating, the nurturing redemption of this time of year, and we honor the darkness.
In this season of cold, we reach out to each other in community and connection, reminded time and again that we need one another in labor and in laughter, as hands and as spirits, in hope and in help.
May this for us be a season of song, of spirit, of gifts unsought and unexpected, of renewal, of love, and of sacred wonder. And we invite you now to rise in all the ways we do and join together in the words of affirmation as we light our chalice. We light this chalice here in the darkness of winter as we wait. This temporary space is one filled with prayers to be answered, love to be given and received, miracles to be witnessed. May this light guide us until the light of the sun returns again. And let's take a moment before we join together in song to turn and greet those around you.
Good morning. I'm going to sing our opening hymn once by myself, and then I'll invite you to join me. And then we'll sing it one more time as a round, starting with the folks on my left, and the folks on my right will follow. Round and round the earth is turning, turning always round till morning, and from morning round to night. Round and round the earth is turning, turning always round till morning, and from morning round to night. Round and round the earth is turning, round and round the earth is turning, and from morning, one more time, round and round the earth.
We invite anyone who would like to come on up front for our story to come and join us. We're going to grab some chairs this morning with all the greens here. Come on, move 2 feet to the carpet. You can pull your chair up like we did. Good morning. Happy solstice. Hi, how are you, Nora? Hi, good. Hi, everybody. Are you having a good morning? Hi. Well, our story today is a story about winter solstice, but it is a different one from what we may know. Do any of you have winter solstice traditions in your family? We got all kinds of traditions. Anybody have something they do on solstice? How about our grown-ups out there? Yeah. We light candles and reflect on the year. I love that one. Anybody else have a solstice tradition? Yeah. You build a bonfire? The old brick bonfire. Ooh, yes. So today we're going to hear a story about Dongja, which translates to winter's extreme or winter's arrival, and it marks the winter solstice, the longest night and the shortest day here where we live in the Northern Hemisphere. It's a festival that originated in China in the Han Dynasty a long time ago. So today is Dongja, the winter solstice, and the longest night of the year. Last year, I spent it chasing hummingbirds and splashing through the sprinklers. Does that sound like our winter solstice? Would you like to run outside and chase a hummingbird or run through a sprinkler? Oh, that would be so cold. Right, so clearly she spent last winter solstice in a different hemisphere, right? Not in ours. When it was time to eat, Dee Dee and I would come in through the squeaky screen door, and we would gather around the kitchen table with the view of Yeye's chrysanthemums. That doesn't sound like winter solstice, does it? But this year, there are no hummingbirds or chrysanthemums. It's too cold for a screen on the door. And when I look outside, I see only a blanket of snow. That sounds more like it. Mama, Baba, Dee Dee, and Yeye are bundled in their thickest coats. Wei, let's go on a walk. Aren't you excited to play in the snow? Mama asks. I scowl. In China, the whole village looked forward to Dongje. Yeye tells me all of this as he helps me into my coat. Let's go look, though. I think we can find signs of spring already returning. Have you seen any signs of spring lately? No, me either. And have you seen? There is sun, right? You're exactly right, Ada. Look at that. I can't really look that way because it's super bright. Did you see a sign of spring? The snow is melting, right? We had some snow melt this week. You saw a sidewalk? Is this when we do the public service announcement about please clear your sidewalks? I'm glad you saw a sidewalk. What? You saw grass peeking out of the snow? I know. Same. I have a neighbor whose lawn must get a lot of sun because when I drove by, that lawn was completely green. Mine is still white, but theirs was green. Almost green. Let's make a prediction. Are we going to get more snow between now and March 21st? Yeah, I think we're pretty solid. Yeah. Okay, Nora's telling us snow on the 27th. That will be fun, right? We're on winter break. We can go play in the snow. Whoa, it'll be cool to look down and see snow from an airplane. That'll be cool too. All right, where were we? What are we doing? Okay, outside. Were we telling a story? I'm not sure what happened. Outside, my breath puffs white in the crisp air. Snowflakes twinkle and melt on my tongue, and the snow crunches under our feet. Look, yay, I gasp. There are flowers here? Those are meiwa, plum blossoms. They are a long way from home, but no matter how cold and dark it is, they still bloom. The river sparkles like a mirror. Even in the leafless trees, I hear chickadees chirping. These are signs of spring, right? As the sun dips below the horizon, an icy wind sweeps snowflakes onto my cheeks. I miss the sunshine. Yeye wraps me in a warm hug. Let's head back, Weiwei. It's time for your favorite part of Dongja. It's time to make Tongwan. Have you ever heard of that? I didn't know about it either. My kiddo knew about it, but I've never heard of it. Mama stirs ground black sesame, sugar, and softened butter into a paste. My mouth waters from the sweet, nutty scent. Steam billows from the kettle as Yeye kneads warm water and rice flour into a soft pillow of dough. That sounds delicious. When the dough is cool enough, we smush it into pancakes between our palms. Dee Dee and I place a dollop of black sesame paste in each pancake, pinch the dough closed, and roll, roll, roll. Baba lowers the balls into a pot of sweet ginger broth. They float to the surface like rising suns. That makes sense why you would have that on solstice, right? Because it's food that looks like the sun. Before serving ourselves, we serve our ancestors. We offer Tongyuan for togetherness, oranges for luck. What does an orange look like? A little ball of the sun. Apples for peace, and cups of tea for respect. And now we eat. Chewy dough and sweet black sesame melt on my tongue. The broth is like a sip of sunlight, heating me from the inside out. Dongja tells us that warmer days are ahead. Yeye scoops out a perfect ball from his bowl. The words for Tongwan sound like Tuanyan, which means togetherness. And that's kind of another part of all these holidays this time of year, right? Is being together. I know that moving to a new home is hard. It was hard for me too when I left China to come to America, he says. But anywhere can feel like home when we celebrate together. Even on the longest night, with warm Tong Yuan in my belly and my family by my side, I feel like a golden sun. Before long, spring will return with a new season of memories to make in our new home. And until then, I will bloom like the Mei Hua and savor this season. So, we hope you have a very happy winter solstice. As of 9:03 this morning, it's going to start getting a little brighter every day. And even if it's just a couple of seconds, we're going to be happy for that light. Enjoy solstice and have a great time at class. We're going to sing you on out.
You to once again rise in body and/or in spirit so we can sing our hymn number 55, Dark of Winter.
So I'd like to tell you a story now that comes from the Polynesian tradition. The different peoples of the vast and very, very different islands of the greater Pacific have a lot of different stories, but also a lot of stories in common. And one of the characters that appears in a very wide spectrum of these stories is named Maui. So the story goes like this. There was a time when the sun took exactly as long as it wanted to go about its business in the sky. So that you could wake up in the morning, rub your eyes, stretch and yawn, sit up, walk outside, and by the time you had made it out your front door, the sun was already setting. The sun had a great interest in getting some rest, so it would hurry its way across the sky and then take a good long sleep. This was frustrating for people, as you might be able to understand. The people who fished didn't have time to get out in their boats. By the time they had set everything up, got their nets ready, they were heading out, it was time to come back in because the sun had set. The folks who were drying fish or drying bark for the making of cloth, they didn't have enough time for it to dry. They'd set it out, the sun would be up there for a few minutes, and then it would be dark again, and not very effective way of drying anything out. So, Maui noticed this problem, but he wasn't sure what to do about it. And he was talking with his mother, Hina, about it, and she said, well, I have an idea. She explained the whole plan to him. His eyes went very wide, and he thought this was a very good idea. So, first, she gave to him several strands of her very long, very beautiful black hair. And he took those strands, which were stronger than any rope that has ever been made, and he climbed up to the top of a very tall mountain. And he waited. He waited in the dark of the night. And as soon as the sun started to come over the horizon, the first beam of sunlight of the all too brief day crested over the hill, he threw the first line of hair and hooked it onto that beam of sunlight. And he quickly tied off the hair to a boulder, and then he waited for the next beam, and he did it again, and again, and again, and again, until there was a whole network of these single strands of hair tying the sun to all the rocks at the top of the mountain. So when the sun actually got up over the horizon, it was truly in the sky, it found it couldn't get any further than that. It was stuck, chained in place by the strands of Hina's hair. The sun said, okay, what are we going to do about this? And Maui said, sun, what you are doing is a problem. You are moving too fast across the sky. No one can get any work done. No one can get any life done. We need you to move more slowly. And so a great negotiation began, and there was much wheeling and dealing and back and forth, and eventually what they worked out was that the sun would take longer in the sky. Okay. But the sun needed to have, like a flexible work schedule. It couldn't just do exactly the same thing every day, day in, day out, all throughout every year for all of eternity. It needed a little variation. It needed a little extra rest sometimes, and it can put in a little extra time the other times to make up for it. And this is why the sun takes longer some parts of the year to cross the sky. And it takes less time some other parts of the year. Sometimes the day is longer, sometimes the night is longer. This is all due to a very intricately negotiated deal that Maui worked out with the help and really the planning and engineering of his mother. Thank you for listening to my story.
Years ago, our colleague David Bumbaugh wrote a reflection on this winter season that we want to share with you this morning. In early winter, there are no secrets. In early winter, the world is what it is, and there is no time for pretense. In early winter, the days are short and dusk comes early, and nights are long and dark.
In early winter, it is obvious that light is not the natural state of things. It is a transient phenomenon in the midst of growing darkness.
In early winter, the trees are stripped to their essentials. The trees are twisted, scarred trunks and limbs dancing against a stainless steel sky, in spite of all the indignities of lightning strikes and windstorms and insect infestations and other traumas made obvious by the merciless autumn. The life of the tree is now entrusted to a thin band of cells protected by the gnarled trunk, and to the roots, life, hidden out of sight in dark places in early winter.
Caught in a net of twigs near the top of one small oak is a red plastic ring, part of a child's lawn game, tossed and lost one warm summer afternoon, and soon forgotten. Now the leaves are down in a circle of bright red, like a halo near the top of the tree, recalls a simple summer game. Standing under the tree, one can almost hear the voices, the laughter and shouting. The time's now gone, never to return.
Early winter is a harsh reminder that time's arrow is not reversible. The underbrush, the thick screen of bushes and weeds which hid so much from the roving eye in the bright light days of summer, is now a thin and fragile net, leading the eye on from place to place, hiding nothing.
The deer, hidden all summer by dappled sunlight and green leaves, now turns and stares out at me from the center of the trees, stares like one startled in the bath. We stand and look deep into each other's eyes, making contact with eye, carrying wordless messages each of us understands only vaguely and in part. In summer, we live in separate worlds which intersect occasionally, often tragically. In the early winter world, with all pretenses stripped away, it is clear beyond doubt that we share one world and one life and one destiny.
Small birds, having forsaken the trip south, daring the worst the coming winter offers, flit uneasily from bare branch to bare branch. Finding little cover, they lift and whirl in the sky and return to the leafless tree, reminding us that they too are part of this one world, this one life, this single destiny.
In early winter, when the gray clouds cover the sky from horizon to horizon, the wind lashes the rain against the window, rain that carries crystal promises of what is to come. In early winter, when the sun is weak and late rising, the dusk comes early and dark arrives before dinner. In early winter, I feel a yearning somewhere deep within me, at the very core of my being.
Mistaking the meaning, I turn on lights against oncoming darkness. I turn up the heat to ward off the chill and the damp. I fill my time with important matters, books to be read, appointments to be kept, meetings to attend, jobs to check off, an endless list, lest I disappoint some unvoiced expectation. In early winter, the world and I conspire to fill up the time with business, the tyranny of the urgent, ruthlessly silencing the quiet need at the center of my being. I walk down the street of the town as dusk gathers about me.
The lights come on. Everywhere, the lights. Street lights and decorative lights, chased electric candles in windows, garish lights draped across bushes and trees, outlining windows and doors, as if all the world were determined to deny or ignore or defeat the gathering darkness.
I walk down the street, and somewhere in the core of my being, it stirs again. That wordless yearning, that melancholy sense that I am missing something important. Like an unexpected gift, it comes to me. I need the darkness, the fallow time, the clear, unadorned truth that is early winter.
It is curious that we think of summer, when all the world is busy with the busyness of life, as our season of rest. We fill the short days and long nights of early winter with a whirl of activity and duty and responsibility, as if determined to set ourselves apart from the rest of life, from the natural cycles in which we are rooted, out of which we have risen. We compensate for diminished sun with electric light and heat, and have no time to cultivate our own souls.
I need the darkness, the fallow time. I need to sit in the gathering gloom and allow that darkness to enter my soul, to acknowledge it as part of my being. I need to sit and watch the cold rain falling from the gray sky to puddle on a barren earth. I need to watch the stiff dance of leafless trees out on a distant horizon. I need to see the birds whirl and turn in a sunless sky, and the deer standing quietly in some leafless glade. I need to decipher the meaning of this season for my own existence.
I need time to enter into the dark core at the center of my own being, to confront my fears and frustrations and follies, to accept my limitations and inadequacies. I need time to consolidate the season of growth and open myself to possibilities beyond my dreaming. I need the darkness of early winter. I need to embrace it in the world and invite it into my soul.
That, after all, is the meaning behind the myths clustered about this season. It is only when the darkness is complete that light is truly born in the world. Before history, our ancient ancestors knew. They knew this sacred truth. Into the dark recesses of caves they went. Into the darkness at the heart of the earth they went. And there they discovered a vision of life. And they painted that vision with bold strokes and bright colors deep in earth's darkness, where it speaks to us still.
There they painted the single world they shared with all living creatures. And there, in the darkness at the center of the earth, they celebrated the great Earth Mother, who, out of darkness, brought light, who, in darkness, nurtured life, and who, in the end, received life back into the environing and fecund darkness. The dark was not to be feared. The dark was not to be avoided. It was to be invited and embraced as the source out of which life and light emerges.
And in sacred circles and atop mounds and barrows, wrapped in skins and pelts, our ancestors watched the sky, the weakening sun and the lengthening night, not because they feared the sun would lose its way, would fail to return, but because they knew that only when the darkness was complete could the new sun be born, the sign of returning light and life.
They watched for the longest and darkest night of the year to celebrate the cycle of nature which brought light from darkness and life from death. And that is the ancient insight, hidden and disguised and in all the celebrations at this time. The story, no matter who told it, whichever story you tell, is the same story. Early winter darkness is not our enemy to be hurried through, to be struggled against and overcome. Early winter darkness is an invitation to enter into the natural cycle, to see ourselves as part of the great process which is darkness and light and life and death and darkness again.
Early winter is an invitation to find that quiet, nurturing, dark place at the core of our beings, to rest in that darkness and to wait for something to stir and to grow and to emerge, for it is at the margins of existence that hope is born and light is kindled, and what emerges is often beyond any expectation.
A dear and cherished friend, diagnosed with a terminal illness, once told me that his condition had proved a strange blessing. In the darkness of a world without a future, he began to see his life and his relationships with a clarity he never experienced before. For the first time, he understood the tangled family conflicts which had grown like rank vegetation year after year. With the authority of one who had nothing to lose, he was able to speak out of a dark place to those he loved, to call them to new relationships, to untangle the twisted resentments, to set a new course into the future. Out of darkness, new light and hope was born. Lying in his hospital bed, he shook his head in disbelief, saying to me that only as he accepted, indeed embraced his perilous state, had he been able to make this gift to those he loved. It was a remarkable story, but not uncommon. When we have learned to accept the limits, to embrace the inescapable, to relax into the darkness, then we may be free to accept the unexpected gifts which lie all about us, unseen and ignored in our busyness, in our determination to banish the darkness.
In early winter, with cold and frost coming on, there are no secrets. In early winter, the world is what it is, and there is no time for pretense.
In early winter, the days are short and dusk comes early, and nights are long and dark. In early winter, it is obvious that light is not the natural state of things. It is a transient phenomenon in the midst of environing darkness.
This early winter, take time to embrace the darkness. Find some fallow time when you can watch the gray clouds moving across the heavens. Some fallow time when you can watch the rain strike the window and listen to the wind calling an unfamiliar name and see a weak sun low upon the horizon move across the leaden sky. Some fallow time when you can cultivate your soul and learn to accept yourself for what you are, a child of this earth, a part of its endless rhythms, emerging from darkness into light for this brief moment, incarnating possibilities undreamed.
This early winter, I pray you, be not too eager to light the lights. Embrace the darkness, the still, quiet, nurturing darkness, out of which all light and hope emerges. And now, friends, I invite you into this time of giving and receiving, where we give freely and generously to this offering, which helps to sustain our outreach offering partner in this season. Our gifts from this and all other services from beginning last night all the way to the end of the calendar year provide a great deal of the funding that runs Just Dane's eviction prevention program. Sometimes the difference between a family being out on the street or staying in their home can be just a little help with the rent. With your help, Just Dane and joining forces for families are helping people to prevent eviction and homelessness. There are multiple ways to share your gifts this morning. Baskets are now going to be passed here in the auditorium for cash or checks. And you can see on the screen that you can donate directly from our website, fusmadison.org. You'll see our text to give information there as well. Thank you for your generosity and your faith in this life we create together.
We have come together this morning to join in this celebration of honoring darkness and returning light. The winter solstice is a time to gather our family and friends close, to dream of what is growing within the fertile darkness and rejoice in the return of the sun. Solstice is a time of renewed hope, of imagination and rebirth. So let us now join together in filling this sacred space with our wishes and hopes for the coming year, using our own energy, our power, our hope, and goodwill to encourage the light to grow within us once again. When you arrived today, you were given a gold paper star. We invite you to reflect on what is growing within you, what dream you would like to bring to birth, your intention for the new year, and write that hope, prayer, wish on your star. And when you're ready, please bring that star forward and place it here in our greens. We begin our time of reflection with this prayer from Rebecca Parker. In the shadowed quiet of winter's light, earth speaks softly of her longing, because the wild places are in tears.
Come, she cries to us, kneel down here on the frosty grass and feel the prayer buried in the ground.
Bend your ear to my heart and listen hard.
Love this world, she whispers. Distill peace from the snow and water the cities with mercy.
Weave wonder from the forest and clothe grief with beauty.
Rest in the rhythm of the turning year. Trace the bending arc, rounding the curve toward justice, and vow anew to do no harm.
The winter trees stand watch, haloed in the last gleams of the slanting sun. Glory sings here. Heaven echoes the call. Repeat the sounding joy.
Make your life and answer, bow, praise, rise. And now, as the music plays, we invite you to come forward, bringing with you your hopes, your dreams for this season of darkness and light embodied in those little golden stars, and placing them in amongst the greens. Please come forward now. Welcome Yule, welcome dreams, welcome light. Each week we gather, carrying in our hearts the joys and the losses of our days. We hold our own pain and celebration together with those of the ones we love. We share these here, knowing they are held gently in care, in support, and in love. We light a candle for all of those among and beyond us who are celebrating the festival of Hanukkah, which has its 8th and final night tonight. May the miracle of light and of identity persisting be with you in this season. We light a candle for a member who is thinking of Bill this morning. We light a candle of grief and remembrance for the life of Thomas Anir Jr., father of Jamie Anir. Thomas passed away Friday evening after a gradual decline in health. Jamie said her father's greatest accomplishment in this life was being her dad. We send our love to Jamie and her family as they grieve his passing and remember the gifts that he gave. I invite you now to join me in a time of meditation with these words from Lynn Cox. We pause as the path of the sun reverses, seemingly holding its place for a moment of turning. Let's delve into the gifts of darkness at the winter solstice. We follow curiosity and contemplation down into the cold earth, taking a journey to the world below the surface. Here we find acorns cached by squirrels and chipmunks, perhaps to be food laid in store, or perhaps to become trees in the fullness of time. We find the burrows of hibernating animals, those who sleep and repair. We find seeds, including some that will not sprout unless they first wait through frost and ice. Life finds rest and renewal in the darkness. May those who are weary find comfort. May those who are struggling find meaning and companionship. May those who are injured or ill find recovery. May those who hunger find abundance. Let this be a time of healing, and may the dreams of the dark lead us to share these gifts with one another. Our imagination rises back to the surface, to life where the cold ground meets the crisp air. Here we observe life finding its way. We observe animals eating seeds left on the ground, though the harvest is long past. We notice the migration of birds, natural movement that allows populations to find places where they can thrive. We observe the trees that appear to sleep, and yet hold sap that will rise again before the spring arrives. We observe that not everything lives through the winter, and yet all that has lived returns to the earth and is transformed. Let this be a time of resilience. May the changing seasons bring new meaning and new insights. May creativity and persistence lead us to find resources for all to share. May those who migrate find safety, and may there be good news in the wind. May transformation lead us onward. Now we lift our imagination to the sky, to the returning sun and to the brilliant winter night. Shifting hours of light and darkness remind us that change is part of the rhythm of the universe, and so trouble does not last. Acknowledging the gifts of darkness, we also look forward to the growing light, a change that brings glimmers of hope. We marvel at the beauty of this time. Stars unobstructed by leaves, jewels of the night shining over the land, moon and meteors, inspiring us to awe and wonder. Let this be a time of celebration. What joy can be found, let us hold it close, blow on its embers, and share its spark. We do not take for granted having come this far, and we give thanks for our companions on the journey. Blessed be, and amen.
Now I invite us all to once again rise in body and/or in spirit, so we can sing our closing hymn, which is "Deck the Hall with Boughs of Holly." That's one hall, one large hall, not multiple hallways.
On these long nights, may we find rest. On these days of winter, may we feel warmth. And on all the days to come, may our minds see the infinity of space, may our bodies find rest, and may our spirits feel the warmth of community. May this be so. Blessed be, go in peace, and please be seated for the postlude.